everyone, this is Anna, your pastry chef here at Be at Highlands Ranch. And I have a fun activity today. I'm going to be decorating some Christmas cookies. Some of you have the Christmas cookie kit delivered to you, and you can follow along these steps to decorate them just like this, or you can just be creative and do your own decoration and just watch the video. That's fine too. Okay, we're going to start with the mitten cookie. And so I have these icings. These are, they are not royal icing. It's just a simple glaze that's made with powdered sugar and water and color. I like that better because it doesn't dry crunchy, and it's still, here in Colorado with the dry weather, it still forms that crust, and so it's pretty stable for decorating without being too crunchy. Okay? So you're gonna start with the red. Use some scissors to cut the tip and make a small opening at the top. Cut it small first, because you can always cut off a little bit more, but you can't glue it back on. All right, this looks good for me. I'm gonna start by outlining the top of the mitten. And you're gonna wanna leave this little portion here for the cuff of the mitten. The cuff of the mitten is going to be outlined in white. And the reason we outline this is because it will have a chance, we're going to do our outlines first before we fill them in. The reason we do this is it gives the frosting on the edge a chance to harden a little bit, and it forms a boundary, so your when you fill it in, the icing doesn't just ooze all over. It gives it a little bit more of a boundary. All right, so go ahead with the white on the cuff of the mitten. We're gonna put this one aside, and we're gonna go ahead and outline our next cookie. The next one we're gonna outline is a sweater. We're gonna make an ugly Christmas sweater, or beautiful, depending on your opinion, I guess. Test your pastry bag, make sure it's the right size of hole in your pastry bag. And then just go ahead and make your green sweater outline. Now, as you can see, I have left a little bit of space at the top and along the bottom of the sleeves, because I'm going to decorate that with a little detail with another color later. Additionally, I have exaggerated the shape of the cookie, because this is a great sugar cookie, but there's a little bit of spread, and so the shape of the cookie changes a little bit. So when you're decorating, you want to exaggerate that shape so it really shows a clean shape for, for your sweater. Okay? We'll set the sweater aside. The next one we're going to take is this round cookie, and we're going to make a snow globe out of this. Okay, I'm gonna take this pale blue color and I'm gonna make a half of circle. I'm gonna outline the half of the top of the snow globe. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball this. These don't have to be perfect. For the bottom half, I'm going to outline in white. This will be the bottom of the snow globe where the snow fell, so it will be white. Just continuing on to make it a full circle. And then finally, we're going to use red to outline the stand of the snow globe. Just make a straight line here, curve it down along the edge of the cookie, and another straight line to connect it there. We'll set this aside so it can dry. The next cookie that we're gonna work on is the snowflake. This one we're gonna do start to finish right now. I use a chocolate sugar cookie dough. This is a great cookie. It holds its shape really well and it just gives a little variety when you're doing your Christmas shapes or sugar cookies any time of year. And for the snowflake, I'm gonna use the pale blue color. It gives it kind of an icy look. My kids love the Disney Frozen movies and we call this color Elsa blue. So start at one point. We're gonna go from edge to edge, making a straight line. And you want to squeeze a little extra frosting at the point to exaggerate the points of the snowflake. I'll show you what I mean. Squeeze a little extra here before you make a line all the way across, and squeeze a little extra at that end. You can fill it in if it breaks like that. This icing is very forgiving. It will flow into itself, so you can fill in the blanks if you make a little mistake. All right, and then we're gonna make the detail by squeezing a little extra here, make a V shape, and squeeze a little at the end there. Squeezing here, and squeeze more at the end there. That makes a little, you can see the extra icing at the corners of the snowflake. Okay, I'm just gonna continue on decorating the snowflake. And then we're gonna add one more detail in the center. We're just gonna fill in with a little bit more icing. And I'm gonna stop right before I get to the center so I don't end up with a big glob of icing in the center. Squeeze and then release. All right, and this is the cookie that we're gonna decorate with some coarse sugar. This is a great sugar for decorating cookies. It has a larger grain, so it's a larger crystal, so it shows up really well on your cookie decoration. I'm just gonna pour a little bit of this out and dip the cookie right in it gently. And that just gives it a little extra sparkle and really makes it shine like a snowflake. Okay, that's the first cookie that we've finished. The next cookie we're going to work on is the gingerbread man. A classic shape for this time of year, of course. And of course you can decorate it however you want, but I'm going to start with the white icing. I'm just going to make some details around the cuffs of his sleeve and the bottom next to his feet. I'm going to do a zigzag line. It's very simple. And then along his feet. Next, I'm going to make his eyes. I'm just going to make some bigger circles with the white icing, and then I'm going to add a chocolate decoration for his eyes. The icing is acting like, sort of like a glue for this chocolate decoration. And that gives his eyes just a little bit more dimension. Okay? Next, I'm going to use the light blue, and I'm just going to make some eyebrows to give his face a little bit more expression. And I'll make some buttons as well. I'm going to do the same technique for the buttons that I did on the eyes. So I'll make a larger circle of blue icing, and then I'm going to use these red decorations to make the buttons. All right, and finally I'm going to make his mouth. I'm using the red icing to make a little smile. I like to, you can just make a little line to give him a closed smile, but I like to make his mouth open because I think it gives him a little more personality. All right, so we have finished our second cookie. So next, I'm going to start working with some white icing again. And these are the two cookies I'll be working on next, the mitten and the snow globe. I'm going to fill in this white cuff on the mitten, and we're going to cover it with the sugar to give it a little sparkle. For the snow globe, I'm going to fill in the white like a snow landscape, and we're going to cover it with some snowflakes as well. I'll start with the mitten. Just squeeze out some of this frosting, just squeeze it out liberally. It will just run into itself, and it gives it kind of a 3D effect here as well. Definitely want to put your sprinkles on right after you have piped the icing, before it forms a crust. Okay, we're going to let that one set aside, and I'll go to the snow globe now. I'm gonna make a little snow landscape here. Just make some bumps and mountains and valleys in there, and then fill it all in with white icing. Remember, while it's still wet, you're gonna sprinkle it with a little sugar. And then I like to add a couple of these snowflake decorations. All right, the next color we're gonna use on both of these cookies is the red icing. We're gonna first fill in this base of the snow globe, and then we'll let it dry. Squeeze the icing around the edges first to fill in those cracks, and then just fill it all in. If you need to make any adjustments or you see a little space you missed, you can move the icing around with a toothpick to reach those corners. But this one looks pretty good. I'm gonna let it dry right over here. All right, for the mitten, I wanna show you technique. We're gonna use the red to fill it in, and we're gonna use the white icing to make a design on our mitten. So we're gonna work quickly with the white icing before the red has a chance to form that crust. Okay, so first I'm going to fill in the mitten with the red icing, starting around the edges. And then, like I said, I'm gonna work quickly. I'm gonna get my white icing and just make some horizontal stripes across the surface of the mitten. And now I'm going to quickly take a toothpick and drag it through those white lines. This pulls that white icing in an upward direction, and it's going to make a really fancy design on your mitten. Tap it a little. This icing will just ooze right into itself, but the design will remain, and it'll be a smooth surface with this scalloped design on your mitten. Okay, now we've finished our third cookie. Set this one aside to dry. Okay, we're working on our last two cookies. I'm gonna first use the green icing to fill in the green sweater. If you need to, you can cut the tip of this pastry bag a little further to let the icing flow a little more freely. Once again, start in those corners and cracks and work your way around the edge before filling in the center. Use a toothpick to fill in any holes before it has a chance to crust over. We'll let this one dry for a minute while we work on the snow globe. All right, I'm just gonna cut the tip a little bit further on the blue icing and fill in the top part of the snow globe. Use a toothpick to just fill in those little holes that I have. And now I'm going to put a couple of those snowflake sprinkles as if they're falling from the top of the snow globe. Finally, I'm just gonna put a little sugar decoration. I have a car with a Christmas tree on it. You might have a different sugar decoration in your kit, but I like the car here. I'm gonna set it right there. Actually, I'll set it right to the left a little bit. You wanna set this down while that icing is still a little soft so it has something to stick to. And I might even add another Christmas tree to this. You can use your green icing if you want to add your Christmas tree, and just make some triangular shapes. If you want it to be extra special, you could add a gold ball right at the top. Now our snow globe is completed, and we're about to work on the last cookie, which is the ugly Christmas sweater. I'm going to use the white icing to make a squiggly line across the sweater. This is going to be like a wire of Christmas lights, a string of Christmas lights. So we start with the white icing to make that string, and just free form, just kind of fill up the sweater with the string. While the icing is still, before it has a chance to crust over, let's use red, gold, and silver decorations to make the Christmas lights. It doesn't have to fill the whole string. Just placing them along this white line wherever you see a space. I like to start with one color and then go on to the next. Make sure I have all the colors evenly spaced. Okay, finally, I'm just gonna take the blue icing and I'm gonna finish off the sweater with the cuffs of the sleeves and the neckline of the sweater. Just make an up and down motion to give it a little dimension. And our ugly Christmas sweater is complete. So there you have 5 Christmas cookies, sugar cookies and gingerbread and chocolate sugar cookie that you can show off to your friends, or you could just eat them.